Welcome to 5 tips to help you manage your household budget. My name is Maria Newman and I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you manage your household budget. So tip number 1, organise your spend. What I mean by this is, first of all, list all the items that you buy during the week, month, year, and then put them into different groups. And the groups you might want to use are household bills, motor, daily living, luxury items, savings, and obligations. So household bills, pretty straightforward. This is your mortgage or rent, gas, electricity, council tax, anything that you regard as a household bill. Then you've got motor, again very simple. This is your car insurance and the cost of running your car. Then there's daily living, so food, buying items for the house, whether this is shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrush, toilet paper, whatever you need for your general daily living. Then there's luxury items, so this is going on holiday, meals out, things that just make life a little bit nicer. Then there's savings. Do you put money aside on a regular basis in a savings account, whatever that savings account might look like? And then finally, there's obligations. So this might be loan repayments, car repayments, anything where you are obliged to make a payment. So that's tip number 1, organise your spend. So now you have a complete list of all of your spend. The next thing is to determine how much you think you should spend on all of those items. So tip number 2, determine what your spend should be. Now there will be some items where actually they're a fixed cost and you won't be able to negotiate. These are items such as water and council, and maybe even rent, although there may be some room to negotiate. Then there'll be other items where there will be some flexibility, so your mortgage, your gas and electricity. And then there will be other items where it is up to you how much you spend. So what is your food bill like? How much do you spend on your household items? These are completely up to you. So against each item, determine how much you think you should spend. So that's tip number 2. Determine how much you should spend. So you've organised your spend and you know how much you want to spend by item. It's now time to do something about it. So tip number 3 is identify ways to reduce your bills. So for me, there are 3 ways of doing this. The first one is to shop around. So for example, you could go onto a comparison site to see if you're getting the best deal for your gas, electricity and mortgage. The second thing you could do is find alternatives. So say for household goods, you might always go for branded items. Instead, why don't you go for supermarket own? And then the third thing is find a cheaper way of doing things. So if you're going on a family trip, instead of going to the cafe on site at the attraction you're visiting, why not take a picnic? Much cheaper. So tip number 3, identify ways to reduce your bill. So you've organised your spend, you've decided how much you're going to spend by item, and you've identified how you're going to reduce your bill. The next thing is to come up with a plan. So tip number 4, put together a plan to reduce your household spend. So you need to determine what the action is. Are you going to use a comparison site? Are you going to find a cheaper alternative? What does that mean? And also you need to put a date as to when you're going to do it, because if you don't put a date, it's not going to happen. So draw up a plan of all the actions that you're going to take in order to reduce your bills. So that's tip number 4. Come up with a plan. So you've organised your spend, you know how much you'd like to spend by item, you've decided how to reduce the spend on each item, and you've come up with a plan that you're actively monitoring to make sure that happens. Now it's time for the final tip. Tip number 5, monitor your budget. So to start with, this might be on a daily basis, which then goes to weekly, which then goes to monthly. But you need to be confident that the budget that you've set for yourself is being achieved. You are in control. And if for whatever reason you're not achieving it, it might be the case of it was unrealistic, and therefore you can change what the budget is. So tip number 5, monitor your budget. So those are my tips for managing your household budget. If you've enjoyed watching this video, then like, subscribe and leave a comment. See you next time.